All right, welcome back to Robots Attack, the E3 special episode. We've been talking through various companies, what they've been showing off and everything, and now we are moving on to Ubisoft.
I'm
Yes.
excited for this one. I'm excited for this one. There's at least three, maybe four, that I'm really excited for in this press conference that they had. So,
then start us off. Go for it.
okay. Well, I will gladly do so. So, we'll basically start off with what happened with Ubisoft and the collaboration with Nintendo. And
What?
Shigeru,
What?
yes, it's unheard of. It's a third-party game.
Yeah.
Ubisoft is supporting Nintendo, and they have been for years. What's crazy is they still make Just Dance games for the Wii. Ubisoft does
Yeah,
for the Wii,
that's
not the
pretty.
Wii U, the Wii. So it goes
That's
to show their dedication towards Nintendo. Ubisoft is probably Nintendo's main third-party support at this
Yeah,
point.
I would think so.
So I would think so, yeah. So we got a taste of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which comes out August 29th of this year. So it's really not far away at all. And we even got a nice taste with Shigeru Miyamoto, the godfather of gaming, as you might
that was
want to
crazy.
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And
talking a lot of Godfathers in this.
Right.
yeah, indeed, it's
I'll
very
give
true
you a
though.
Mario offer you can't refuse.
But his mere presence there just lit up the room. I read reports afterwards how Ubisoft, some of the part of the development team were literally in tears with the presence of Miyamoto, because he just
Yeah.
has that. He literally just has that reputation where arguably he is the godfather of gaming. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. You could really see the passion for the Ubisoft press conference
Oh yeah.
when they started off with that. It was amazing, and he brought out this blaster reminiscent of like Mega Man. And it was
Right.
quite interesting when the two posed off. I didn't really know what to think at first, but I, it was quite interesting. I do like that he definitely was kind of playing it up, playing it around, and kind of almost hinting at a Mega Man, but not really. Like, because Mega Man isn't actually his property. He has, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and Mario. But it is interesting that they kind of have that flavor in there of Mega Man. So, anyways, with the game, as far as the game goes, it's a role-playing RPG, yeah, with turn-based
Right.
combat and exploration, and it bears a lot of similarities to XCOM.
Right.
But not only that, it actually brings back memories of Final Fantasy Tactics, and
Yeah.
that's one game that I absolutely adore, and I know Jason as well. He's in the same boat for that game.
Yeah. I'm
And
right there with you on
when
that.
yeah, and when I seen this game, it came out of left field for me. I did not expect anything from this. Like, I just was
Yeah.
like, oh, Mario and Rabbids collaboration. I'm not huge on Rabbids, but my
Yeah, you
goodness,
think like,
when
oh, it's gonna be a party game or
yeah,
something.
Yeah,
right.
the funny thing is, I don't know how long ago it was, but I'd heard the leak about this game when it was being tossed around, and I think practically everybody was looking at that leak like, okay, somebody's messing with us because there's no way that this is a thing, because it perfectly detailed out like the blasters and everything, and everybody
Mhm.
was just like, no, no, they're messing with us. There's no way, like, combining these two things in this particular way.
Mhm.
They even called out that it was in the flavor of XCOM and like a tactical type of game. And it was just like, no, nobody was on board with this. And then they showed this game, and I've yet to see anybody say, I'm not on board for this after seeing it.
Yeah,
Everybody is really
yeah.
passionate about it. It's amazing to me. I mean, it is. I mean, Mario does stir up a lot of emotions just by itself, but there's there's a lot of hate, like a lot of like fun, uh, joyous hate of the entire franchise out there, and that
Hmm.
evaporated instantly as soon as people saw like a, a, a rabid Peach acting all like too good for this world. It was gone.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that they were able to pull that off and nailed that aesthetic. The entire world looks pretty amazing for
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
combining those two camps. Also, it's really neat to see, and it will probably sell some Switch consoles. I'm guessing it'll probably do well on
I
that.
yeah. I'd like to think so. I like the whole the whole it's the battle, the tactics, but there's also that Mario kind of exploration feel to it too, where you go around and you do puzzles before the battles, so then you can get power-ups for your weapons and all that. So it adds kind of a different layer to it where it's not just like, oh, here, let's make your team, let's drop you into the battle, you battle it out, and then you leave. You
Yeah.
literally explore the Mushroom Kingdom, and what's interesting to me is that when I heard that this was going to be like that tactical turn-based strategy game, say there's going to be no way there's going to be depth to this game. It's meant for kids. That's what it looks like. There's no way.
Right.
And then when I seen the demonstrations, like, wow, this actually has a lot of depth to it. Um, it brought out again like a lot of Final Fantasy tactics for me, and it was impressive to say the least. I was thinking like, this may be an okay game, but when I do get a Switch, this is a game I'm gonna buy. It it looks really good.
Oh, you hear that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ubisoft? There you go.
Yeah. You already got
you did.
somebody. You got your
You
hooks in
got
them.
one person,
We done did
and
good.
what topped what topped it off for me too is that the composer for this game is Grant Kirkhope, and if you've been following my playthroughs on my YouTube channel, he's also one of the composers for Ukulele, which I'm playing right
Uh-huh.
now, and I have an emotional connection with this guy because he's done some of the great N64 compositions of that time.
Mm.
Perfect Dark, GoldenEye,
Oh,
Donkey Kong
okay.
64, Banjo-Kazooie. He's
Yeah,
even
that's
done some
cool.
Civilization games. And then and most recently Ukulele. So he was ecstatic when he was able to announce on his Twitter that he was working on a Mario game because he could bring his take on the original Mario theme and all of that. And to me, that just was the icing on the cake because as soon as I heard them wandering around the world, I could immediately tell that was Grant Kirkhope's compositions because
That's
probably
cool.
just playing ukulele now too. It's like whoa, it's mind blowing. I guess it goes back to what I was saying when like people work with Miyamoto. It's like they don't even know how to react. They're like they're pinching themselves. They're like, am I really working on a Mario game? And these guys are like in their 40s too. They're not like young cats or anything. It's
Right.
just that impression that he has on them. So it really it does look cool. I can't wait to get my hands on it
Yeah.
whenever I can get a Switch.
Yeah. I'm surprised if eventually I end up having a crew of these Rabbids and Mario characters following around a robotic rabbit Roomba as well. So.
Yeah.
Well,
So what do we got
you, you
next?
you spoke of a couple games you were definitely super interested in.
Oh boy, here we go. So I am maybe you could say a mega fan. Um, but the Assassin's Creed series, this is a series that I've played pretty much from its inception. I've played and beat every single one of the main series. I've played the Assassin's Creed Chronicles China and India. I've played
Oh,
like
cool.
a good chunk of these games, so I've had different kind of feels for the game because the Chronicles games are quite different than the main series
Uh-huh.
games and everything. So just to give everyone like a little background of where I'm at with the Assassin's Creed series, um, I've purchased them all, and I'll already admit right now I've already pre-ordered this game. It's been
The
pre-ordered, so
Uh-huh.
the $800 one, or wasn't there some
yeah,
crazy like?
yeah. There
Yeah.
there was 100 copies of an $800 super edition of the game. Only 100 copies, and no, I was not one of them.
You said you're a
It's too
super
bad.
fan. You
You're gonna be
that title
regretting
goes
it.
away. Yep.
You will have
Yeah,
regrets.
I might have been demoted from mega fan to like
Right. Just super fan is
mild fan.
fine.
Yeah, super fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Super is a
But
nice middle ground these days. A lot of things are super.
right, games are getting called super all the time, so why
Yeah.
not my fandom towards this game and series?
Yeah.
But this is a series that they kind of leaked like a few months ago, where they kind of said, okay, this is it's going to be in Egypt. They've been talking about doing an Egypt themed Assassin's Creed for years, but it leaked, this year saying, okay, this is going to be in Egypt. We're going to have an origin story, which, it's rightfully called Origins, where this new assassin, Bayek, is actually the founder of the Brotherhood. So this is going to actually depict how the Brotherhood was formed after all
Hmm.
these other games where there was talk about, oh, the Brotherhood, and the Templars.
Oh.
This game's actually going to show how it was formed with this Bayek character. And what I thought was really cool was that it gives Ubisoft Montreal a chance to redeem themselves, because this was their last game that they did. They didn't do Syndicate. The last game they did was Unity, and I'm sure
Mm.
we've all heard
Oh, okay.
how Unity performed as far as the technical aspects of the game.
Yeah.
So this really gives, since they took a year off of Assassin's Creed, they didn't have one last year. This really gave Ubisoft Montreal like 2 or 3 years really to nail out something new, something different for this franchise, and they've definitely done something different. They've thrown in RPG elements. Um, he has the assassin has an eagle buddy named Sanu, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that was
He
cool.
uses the eagle to like fly over like a kingdom or something and kind of scout out the area, and it'll pinpoint like where these guards are at, and then move accordingly throughout the area. And what's neat is Sanu, the eagle, is actually the living precursor to Eagle Vision for the series. You know how like the assassins have
Oh,
their
okay.
eagle vision?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
It basically tells you how that came about, why they used Eagle Vision, and that was it, the Eagle Sanu. So I think that's a cool touch.
Yeah.
I have lots more to say, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys thought about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm behind on a couple games like Unity and Syndicate, but yeah, I've been playing a bunch of them too. And yeah, I'm excited. Like I like the setting. Uh,
Hmm.
it looks gorgeous. Like it'll be. It looks like they're playing a little bit more with maybe some supernatural elements, maybe, and that kind of stuff. Obviously, with Egypt, you can do
Yep.
that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I'll be curious to see how it like how you go about doing missions and like the world itself, like how you interact with everything, like if they end up kind of changing up a few things or letting you. I know they've kind of talked about like allowing you to tackle missions like certain ways or different ways, but I don't know if they've ever really like pulled it off super great, but I'll be curious to see what they do with this one with the extra time to kind of change up
Yeah.
some of this stuff. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, the RPG elements kind of change some of the play style. Um,
Oh yeah.
but
It does. That's actually kind of one concern I have. I like the addition of the RPG elements, but with that, they kind of took out the one-hit stealth kills. Because like if you were able to sneak up on
Right.
someone, you could like throw a dart at them and they would die in one hit, or you could just
yeah,
sneak up and like jab them with your hidden blade and they were dead. But because of the new like RPG elements, a lot of these guys are based off level. It's based off your equipment and everything. So they kind of got away from that one hit stealth kill. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays part into your stealth overall, because like
yeah,
the kind of like the whole point of being stealthy was to kind of like avoid confrontations and kill them like quickly, quietly.
hmm
But now I don't know if you can do that. If you can quietly disperse to somebody, depending on their
yeah.
level. Any
I mean, if they're gonna do something along the lines of like kind of tie that in with the story of, since it's like here's the guy that founds the brotherhood and everything, that like maybe he doesn't have those abilities yet or something, or just since he is kind of like founding this, like it explains why some of those stuff that the assassins are able to do later on, like maybe he doesn't do necessarily or something, or if they're gonna tie tie it into the story in that way somehow, like why there's
that,
certain stuff
yeah,
that you're able to do in the later games that aren't available in this one, and maybe it's something that he learns later on or develops, or other future assassins develop, that sort of thing, like
that would make a whole lot of sense to me if they did do that. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out. Um, in terms of mounts, there's not just horses anymore. You can actually ride camels, and
mm,
there's even
Nice.
chariots as well. Yeah, I mean, it's got to stay with the flavor of Egypt, right? So camels,
Right.
yeah.
you feel that's got to be a must, right? So
I wouldn't
another
Plus,
play
thing
it otherwise.
I I
right?
want I wonder too, since I heard one of the, I don't know if it was one of the developers or something, but kind of mentioned that this guy's kind of like the sheriff of this area, like, and
Oh, a
like what
magi.
yeah, and like as he was riding through the town, like people knew of him, like he's returning to this
Hmm.
place. So I kind of wonder
Yep.
too if that will play into a little bit of like, it's be kind of a strange comparison, but like James Bond, he's a spy, but everyone
Mm,
knows him. So like maybe
yeah.
Right.
that's part of the element too of like, well, everybody kind of knows this guy, so he can't terribly blend in. So maybe that's not something that he's like a big deal, like a part of him. Maybe that's something he instills onto future, members and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I mean, at least from the ones that I played, like that's kind of a different aspect of like the people actually knowing who you are. I mean, I don't know if as he ventures out, if like that's the same case, but at least in kind of the area that they showed, like people seem to know who you are and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that was his hometown. That's why they knew, because he's traveling back to his hometown, and that's
mhm.
kind of like the setting. So I think once they leave that area, it'll become apparent that he's maybe not as well known as he is there. But speaking of the world, actually, I don't know if you caught it, but they showed off the map of the world, and it is massive. It's easily the biggest Assassin's Creed we've seen Like
Nice.
the towns are small, and it covers like all of Egypt. Like all the hot spots in Egypt, it's massive. So that's one thing. Instead of what they took away from like this game that they used to have in the older games, is how when you would want to unlock like a portion of the world or a portion of the region, you would have to climb to a high spot like a tower usually or something, and you would have to
Yeah.
synchronize, and it would open up kind of that area. Well, in this
Yeah, it's
one,
usually like the first thing you did. Like, oh, okay, I'm in this area. All right,
yeah,
where's the tower? Let me go.
and go do that, and then you can kind of base off where your kind of side missions and main missions are and everything. But in this one, no longer need to climb high towers to unlock the world. You just open it up as you walk through it now. So if you've been through it, you unlock it. So I think I like that aspect. I know it's kind of been a staple for the series to climb somewhere and synchronize, but it sometimes was a chore. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
it,
It was
yeah,
a chore sometimes, and approach to it. And they've also announced a battle arena mode, which is sort of like
Huh.
reminiscent of like Gladiator or something, where you're in
yeah,
this like arena, and it's like wave after wave of enemies coming at you, and you got to see how long you can last. And since Django, you Syndicate, and I assume the same for you, Jason, you didn't play Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
I meant to, but yeah, I didn't end up.
Okay. It's not really a spoiler, but there's these
It better
fight
not be.
clubs in. You're good. No, you're good. There's these fight clubs in London, and it's basically the same thing. You would go into a
okay.
fight club and you would like bare knuckle fight somebody, and
Oh,
it would
okay.
just be like waves of people until you got like a high score, and then you would get like upgrades and experience and all that. So they basically brought the fight club on a grander scale arena where it's like, sort of like Gladiator-esque. So I think that'll be
Yeah.
cool.
It reminded me of the multiplayer in Rise.
Yeah, yep,
They would do that,
definitely.
like you'd go into the arenas and fight waves of guys, and the arena would
Hmm.
change different stuff and everything. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. And that's it. When was that dropping? Is that did they say? Yeah, have they said? I know it's this year, but did they give a
yeah,
release date or?
I, th- I think it's the October.
Okay, jeez.
Yeah, let's just say October.
October. October is getting full, man.
It
Yeah.
it it really is. It really is.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess no surprise though. It seems the fall is jam packed with games.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
thing that I
October
kept on
27th.
hearing. Oh, okay. The thing I kept hearing people freaking out about when they were kind of picking over the footage of it was that they got rid of the mini map, which I guess has been kind of the series for a long time, and switched over to the horizontal, like compass slice, apparently like The Witcher has. So, I,
Mm,
since
yeah.
I know Joe has done a lot of Witcher, does that sound like a good upgrade to you, or would situation?
uh, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I like that they're trying different stuff, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays in this, if it fits
Yeah,
the style of it more.
a lot of people were using that as a signal that they were going for a more so. Um, so I don't know if it's an overreach as far as that goes, but I definitely know Witcher had a little bit of popularity, so they it wouldn't be surprising to me if they had their eyes open on that and were trying to adapt things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
they probably took a little bit from The Witcher, I'm sure, but I don't think that's a bad thing. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably smart on their part. So
Yeah, it seemed like
another,
everybody was
yeah,
pleasantly impressed by that.
yeah. In terms of visuals, there was this one part they showed. It was after the press conference, so I don't know if maybe you guys seen it or not, but they were doing a demonstration of the game, and you can go in the water again, boats, and in this case it's rafts mostly. But
Uh-huh.
the water looks absolutely beautiful. I just like how it shimmers in the sun, and as the boat goes through, like they pointed out, it looks really good. Like it's one of the best they've seen as far as like water effects go. And
Mm.
I don't know if I'd argue it, honestly. At least on an Xbox One X for sure. It was just shimmering. It caught the Nile River like perfectly as far as what they were trying to do. And another funny part that I seen was when he was on the boat. Um, you can kind of do like this rafts, so you can kind of like jump off the raft and go over to somebody else's and literally grab the guy and throw him right off the raft into the water and just completely ditch him and just go. and
Your raft is
but
mine.
yeah, it was interesting though because there was this like one guy that looked half out of it. He might have been drunk, I don't know, but he was his one friend got tossed off the raft, and the other guy was literally like sitting up against the board near the end, and he was just sitting there watching it happen. Like he didn't react. He was just like, "Yeah, bro, take where we're going. Let's go." He didn't do
Nice.
anything. I thought
I
that
never
was
liked
quite
that guy
funny.
anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't taking me where I wanted to go, so I'm okay with Bayek taking me. But yeah, I thought that was kind of just a nice little touch to it that you can kind of just have fun with. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As you know, my got it pre says a fair bit already. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
speaking of rafts, boats. Did anyone have any thoughts on Skull and Bones?
yes, it was another one.
right.
One of like the four that I
Speaking,
was interested in Ubisoft.
yeah, speak of Assassin's Creed, it definitely took some
Yes,
elements from some Assassin's Creed games.
indeed. Yeah, the whole boat combat and navigation is straight from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of that series, which we've already discussed that, at least Django and I are for sure,
Yeah.
we're quite familiar with that. So I'm sure if when it comes time to actually playing it, we'll feel kind of right at home with that. Um, it's interesting that we have like two pirate like themed games here at E3
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
based on
different.
very different, yeah, very different. But it looked really good. I like the pirate aesthetic or theme, whatever you want to call it. It looks really cool. The controls again, I think I'll be familiar with them because it's like, based off of Black Flag. Um, One thing I think that concerns me is how is there going to be replay value for it for me? Like
mm,
we didn't see a ton of what it's capable of doing yet. But
Yeah.
I almost feel like at least what they've showed it's like it sounds really fun in theory and the controls are probably polished really well since but I wonder how fun it's going to be when you continually play that that mode that they showed off where you kind of collect the treasure and then kind of sail off after. um
Yeah.
I
I
think that
I
kind of concerns me a little bit.
yeah, when they showed this off, I was like, well, yeah, I enjoyed those parts in Assassin's Creed, but uh yeah, I just like this didn't really do anything for me, like beyond that. Just like, hey, those were fun parts in Assassin's Creed, but I I just wonder if this is gonna be like, I mean, not to be negative or anything, but to be like For Honor, where maybe it's like really popular the first month it comes out, but then it's just dead. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
I've heard a
going by
lot of
what
people
they've
bring that
shown,
same thing up, so you're not alone on
it
that.
yeah, it just
Hmm.
it's like, hey, it's pretty,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure,
very pretty.
yeah, like
Yeah.
for a month it'll probably be like really fun to play, but then yeah,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, like what else is there to do? Like, is it just gonna be? Because like where Assassin's Creed, it was like there were other things you could do. Like that was a cool section of it. Like even Black Flag, where it was you were playing a pirate, like there was still other stuff to do.
Hmm.
So it's like, well,
Yeah, the other thing that people have brought up that also relates to the For Honor reference is that it, well, do we know a release date for this one or no?
No, I don't believe they
yeah, I don't
actually
think it.
showed one.
Okay. So it sounded like people were picking up on that and wondering if it would be similar to For Honor, where it's going to make the rounds for at minimum a few E3s, and as it gets closer to becoming a releasable game, that it'll be a little bit more impressive. That right now we're just seeing the bare bones of it. So who knows if that's
Bones.
it?
Bones.
Yeah, who knows if that's the strategy or not. I
Yeah,
mean, as much as they've had problems with the For Honor game, across the board, I've heard nothing but good things about the actual game itself. It's always been peripheral stuff that ended up ruining it for people. So, so hopefully they can at least get that level of polish on it, even if it ends up failing in the long run.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we really need to see more, but I agree. It probably won't be released at least for a couple of years, I would think. But and and then by then we'll kind of know if there's going to be a story mode, if there's going to be all sorts of other things. Maybe they'll introduce us to some of the pirates and
It
kind of see where it goes from there.
it seemed like they were alluding to a story mode, but yeah, it's hard to tell at this point
Uh huh.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got next?
um, anything you want to bring up, Jason, in
I
particular?
wouldn't
Or?
mind
Yeah.
saving my biggest thing for last, personally, but
Okay.
Okay. Well then, let's talk briefly. I think probably on South Park, Fractured but Whole.
Whole.
so
Um,
finally a
Whole,
release date on it.
Whole. Yeah,
Yeah,
Whole.
that's a
Yeah.
pretty big deal. Um, yeah, I think like I enjoyed the Stick of Truth. Like I think what's been cool, and I imagine this one will be the same way. It's like I used to watch South Park back in the day, but then like I stopped watching it, and I haven't watched. Like I'll catch maybe clips or an episode maybe here or there in the past few years, but pretty much
yeah,
like haven't watched it for the longest time. But what was cool about Stick of Truth was it still had some references that like I knew of, but then there'd be stuff that like characters that I'm not familiar with, but it was still captured like the feel of South Park that you could still relate to it. You could still get like it was still fun if you like South Park. Obviously, if you don't care for South Park and its humor, might not be the game
right.
for you. Why are you buying it anyway? But
Right.
but yeah, it was it was fun, and it was like just it really felt like South Park, and I imagine this one is going to be probably just as fun, just like where the first one was like a poking fun at like RPGs and stuff like that. This one is like superhero movies and stuff. So I look forward
Yeah.
to their take on that. It's obviously going to have the South Park crude humor and everything, and they're supposed to be. I think a lot of people were complaining a bit about the combat system in Stick of Truth, and it sounds like this one they've expanded upon it, and it's from what I hear, people are saying it's better. So I think I look forward to playing it, probably streaming it. The first one was fun to stream, so.
Yeah,
Now, is this a game for you, Django? Is this a game that you'll be getting day one, or are you going to kind of wait for a sale, or where do you stand on that?
Probably not, just because of like the games, like the amount of games that are already coming out, and just like I'm again not like a super duper South Park fan, so like it's
Mhm.
I'll probably
Yeah.
wait for a sale or something, like that's what I did with Stick of Truth. I mean, I waited quite a bit, and it was on sale, and then it was like backwards compatible. It was like, oh, perfect, grab it. I think it was,
Yep,
I don't know, $5 or $10 or
$5,
something.
I
It's like,
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like perfect. It was well worth it. So, I mean, I don't know if I'll wait
And they've
till it drops
announced
down
too
to
that this one
price,
comes
but
with that one too, if you need
that's
to catch up on it.
yeah, that's a good deal right there. But yeah, and I think it'll be one of those games like for myself. I'll wait for a little bit, but I look forward to jumping into it. Maybe like next summer or something, like during the kind of lull time.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I love how good of a job they've done at capturing the feel of South Park. And like me
yeah,
personally, I've been paying a lot more attention to South Park in the last year, probably.
oh okay,
And so it's definitely gotten me a little bit more jazzed for this one than I was for Stick of Truth. Um, and the humor hits me just right. The little chunk where Timmy is like Professor Xavier and talking
yeah,
to Cartman, I was yeah, I was laughing pretty good at that. I think I made myself look like an absolute idiot at work from laughing at that. And yeah, a lot of those jokes seem like they hit that perfect combination of completely and totally juvenile with an edge of grown up to it, and that's always
yeah.
been kind of the signature of
They're
the cartoon series in general. So seeing that executed pretty well is pretty satisfying for what I've seen so far.
And they got a pretty accurate portrayal of my country, Canada, as well. So,
Right, right.
Canada in the first game was quite interesting. It had that like 8-bit kind of Legend of Zelda feel to it. I remember watching Django stream that. It's like, man, this is Canada, man. This is awesome.
yeah. I know.
We had all the Mounties there, and oh my goodness, it was good.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, barring any Canadian parts, it's definitely a nice slice of Americana at its most pure, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good lead into the next game, possibly
Yeah,
a
I
slice
like that. I
of
like that.
Americana in
Very
Far
good.
Cry 5.
Yeah.
Maybe not a
Yeah.
good slice of Americana, but it's definitely
No.
an interesting storyline from what we can tell, and it's going to ruffle some
Yep.
feathers, so it's definitely going to get press, which is probably good for it. And
Yeah.
to me, it seems like an absolutely perfect storyline, because even if you're sensitive to any given thing, like the religious aspects of it or whatever, you don't necessarily have to take it as it being an affront to you personally, because it seems like they're pretty clear that these are crazy people. It's not trying to say that anybody from a certain group is crazy.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a different brand of crazy, and it seems like they they've done a pretty good job of getting people excited about that brand of crazy. The I've heard it pointed out, and I'm really interested to see how they take this on, because I'm sure they'll have some MacGuffin for it, is an explanation for why the military doesn't just sweep in and mop up and be done with all of this craziness. But I have a feeling that it's going to have something to do with... There's a lot of towns in various parts of the United States that are really isolated, that you make a few strategic changes to either the landscape or the phone lines in that area, and they are going to be perfectly well cut off from people for a decent chunk of time. So, especially since I believe it's Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My personal experience with Montana is that cell phone signals are problematic there. So it makes some sense to me as far as that goes. It fits pretty well and looks pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of the trailer that I saw was the dog bringing the gun over to you.
I almost wanted to put that in an envelope beforehand to be able to say, in this envelope is my prediction of Django's favorite part. I didn't do it though. I didn't do it. But I'm glad I'm right.
Yeah. I agree. It was really cool. Having the dog even attack those cultists, the Doomsday cultists, and it kind of almost reminded me of Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts, where you had that dog with you, and it was kind of, being a decoy, or it was helping you in some other ways, and I kind of had that vibe with that one too. I thought that was really neat. And this Far Cry, I haven't really played any of them, but this one, I like the story a lot, with the cultists and everything. So this might be my first step into Far Cry. I really, this one impressed me quite a bit. I definitely dig the story. I know, seriously, Ubisoft killed it for me. They did really well, I think. They did a good job. So this is another...
I agree.
This is another step. And this is also developed by Ubisoft Montreal, so I mean, good on them.
This one had like the co-op thing too, right? Like you can bring your friend, because I know that was something in fourth.
It does.
And they have
And they also have a fishing mechanic built into this one, and this is not foreshadowing anything that I'm going to talk about later. Fishing, no.
Right.
No foreshadowing whatsoever.
Real Bass Fishing 19.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a teaser for game of the show right there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I don't know, I think they did their job as far as trying to get like new people into the series. Like I said, I have never gotten to the series before, but this one, the trailer was impressive. The story looked good. I like, as Django said, the dog looked really neat. Yeah, I look forward to it. I don't know if it's a day one purchase, but it's definitely something I am going to get down the line. It does come out February 27th of next year, 2018.
Right.
So
okay.
We have time.
Yeah, the kind of an underlying impressive thing for me was how well they kept it quiet, especially considering it had like major leaks. And those leaks ended up being, I don't know if they had a hand in this, but it was masterfully misdirected by either accident or on purpose to being a whole nother thing that was going to attract a bunch of attention for the game. And that was that for a moment, it looked like it was going to be squaring off against a Rockstar game, which is unheard of and probably suicide. And both in genre and in time frame, and so it they dodged that bullet pretty adeptly and did it in a completely different genre than I think we've seen it done well anyplace else. It seems like the cult stuff, they have a tendency to go absolute batshit crazy pretty often with cult stuff and get into like full
Yep.
science fiction. And it's not that I'm not a fan of that. I am. But having something grounded in reality a little bit more, it's
Yeah.
it's a genius move as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how it turns out.
Well, speaking of things that you're interested in, Jason, I think you can wrap us up with
Okay.
Ubisoft's,
Ubisoft here.
So,
Yep.
okay, this was the really big one for me because again, much like the Far Cry stuff that I was just talking about, it was hidden like super well. Um, they outright said that they weren't going to have anything about this game, and this game is Beyond Good and Evil 2. Now, technically, they didn't really have like gameplay walkthrough or anything like that, and I'll get to that in a second. But man, they had probably one of my favorite full animated game trailers of all time, personally. um, it ended up being super. Okay, it was a lot of fun just watching it because obviously you have like animals in that series, or I guess technically hybrids in that series.
Yeah.
And they did a masterful job of having that the monkey main character have perfect expressions for any given thing. I know a lot of people were turned off by how foul-mouthed he was. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It ended up being it felt like it was a little bit of either Pulp Fiction or Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels, like thrown into a completely weird universe, and I really enjoyed that. The facial expressions of all of the characters at each different part, they were really masterful. Now that said, it is like completely animated, and that's been a big gripe for people for a long time. And people have been these companies have been getting away from doing it because everybody demands gameplay instead of just a nice polished thing. But if they can pull off this aesthetic and this energy, I'm all for it, and I'm super hyped. I felt like the big giveaway too was being able to see the look on the developer's face when he got up on stage. That was some genuine emotion there.
Yes.
He was super. Yeah. So it
Yep.
just combining those two things gives me chills about what this game could be. So beyond that, we get into some other interesting stuff, which is again why I love this game. Not just because I love all of that stuff, all of the extra noise around it is going to be fascinating. Because the game seems to be fairly low in the development cycle, and they outright invited people to join what they're calling the Space Monkey program in order to kind of be an open source, like crowd sourced type of thing for pushing this game forward to get people's information on it and so on. And that could go really well, or that could go really badly. I'm hoping for the really well, because if you can get people's input and get them to guide in a direction that will give it the most bang for its buck, I'm all for that. But it also gives the impression that they got nothing. So they're going to be fighting that from the beginning. And the little snippets that they were showing of development process honestly made it look like they have practically nothing. So it's going to be fascinating seeing the production cycle of this game from this point forward, because the production cycle on the game has already been batshit crazy to begin with. They've been
Yeah.
tossing around this game for a long time.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the other side, and it gets into politics a little bit, that's going to be super interesting to me, is the original game is held up as a shining example of the perfect feminist game. And it actually, Anita Sarkeesian has kind of built a career around saying that that game is what we should use as the template for female positive games moving forward. And mostly in agreement on that from what I've seen. It sounds like it's got a lot of positive attributes. It manages to
anyone
pull
play
off.
it?
I haven't.
Have
I
you?
own it, and I keep meaning to play it, but I've honestly shrugged it off because I believed that there was no chance that this game was coming out anytime soon, the sequel for it.
Ah.
So I thought I had plenty of time. I think I probably still do, but I because it's been a big thing in that, and I've paid attention to those reviews of it, and I feel like I have a decent grasp of it. What are your thoughts, Kane?
Well, I think it's interesting that this could be, since the game's 14 years old, it came out in 2003,
Yeah.
that this would be a perfect time. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this would be a perfect time for this game to become backwards compatible, to get
Oh, yeah.
everyone talking about it even some more, actually trying, the game for the first time, because I haven't even tried it either.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually why I ended up grabbing it.
Yeah,
Best
it
I
was
remember.
free one of the months. It was one of the games with gold, like free months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if
Okay,
you've
my
had an
bad.
Xbox subscription for a decent chunk of time, you probably don't have an excuse not to play it, because if you've been on top of it, you probably have it in your inventory. But because it's been
I'm kind.
placed on that high pedestal, I'm really interested to see what the people's views of it under the lens of this promo is going to be, because
I,
obviously a completely different direction.
I am a little surprised that that wasn't pushed a little bit more. Like the first game being back combat. Like from people. Like I never really like heard anybody really mention it. Like, hey, it's backwards compatible. Like if you never played
Mm.
the the first one, like because I think for a lot of people like myself included, like I never played it, and
Hmm.
since the cycle of this one, like I'm just kind of surprised I didn't hear more people sort of push like, hey, if you never played the first one, it's backwards compatible, and like I don't know, thought that was kind of weird
Yeah.
that like I never really
Yeah,
heard anybody really like mention that.
it seemed like a
Yeah.
missed opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I've heard a lot of people pointing out that it hasn't necessarily aged as well as a lot of other games. And
Oh.
I still need to get my hands on it to be able to see my own ideas on that, or feel my own ideas, and create,
Touch
form my
them,
own ideas
mold
on
them,
that.
form them
Yeah.
in
Right,
clay.
right, sculpt
Yeah.
them. But it it might explain why they're not pushing it as much, because
Mm.
apparently what remains compelling for a lot of people, barring kind of the feminist ideal, is that it was a compelling scenario of what this universe could be. And it looks like they're weighing a lot heavier on that with this game, because they're trying to keep the entire pirate feel and everything. To me, the direction it seems like they're going is something more in line of a pirate version with animals of something like Mass Effect. So,
Mm.
especially considering that they're they had little teases here and there about it being a multiplayer game. And so I don't know how big that functionality is going to be, but if you can combine this world and that fun with like a pirate setting in space and have it be kind of related on the DNA level to like Mass Effect and oh, I had another like prime example, but it's slipping my mind right now. But adding that multiplayer type of thing to it, they're stressing so far that it's going to be a crew of characters that are diverse and interesting, and so far it seems like they've pulled that off. But
Yeah.
me on like an anime fanboy level, female Captain Harlock sounds pretty aces to me. I'm super excited for that. And so they basically have that, except with crazy animals. And that's I'm really excited. I did not expect to be anywhere near as excited about this on so many levels because I love all of this stuff.
Did I hear it right that this one is supposed to be a prequel to the first one, or?
Yeah, and that's the other
Okay.
thing that's so far the initial have been about that because people got really attached to the character from the original game. I believe it's Jade, and so the assumption at this point is that it's going to be somebody related to her, maybe your mother or something like that, as that Captain Harlock character. I don't know how that plays out when you start including ideas about it being a multiplayer enabled or enhanced game. To me, it seems like it almost has to be make your own crew and you make your own character, but this could be me just putting my own feelings out there. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see everything surrounding this game. I am holding my breath for the analyzed video of Anita Sarkeesian of this because it has a lot of stuff that she's going to have problems with, and it's going to be really fun seeing not just the game development, but all of the hustle and bustle around it, too.
Indeed.
Am I the only one that kind of got that Fifth Element vibe to it as well?
Oh,
during
yeah.
that trailer?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I
no, you're
I
not
probably
the only
wouldn't-
one.
I probably wouldn't do
Yeah.
that
I gotcha.
personally, but yeah, I can understand that. Oh, and,
Okay.
and I didn't even get into, like, since I'm the artsy guy out of us, I think, art style in this is, like, crazy. And
Yeah.
adding, like, the layers of the music, which it's funny because I've been on a kick of the, like, French reggae music lately. So it was like, this is my stuff already. It was like, I've been listening to this playlist literally at work. Well, not literally, but figuratively at work. So yeah, it was the perfect way to get me grabbed too, and add that into that, like all of the, I don't know if it's outright or pseudo, like religious themes to it. Everything looks really cool, and I love neon Buddhism. I can't wait to see what's entailed in neon Buddhism. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I remember seeing some images, I guess memes of the pig and the girl there. People were trying to put it off as Roadhog and Widowmaker from Overwatch.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were drawing
Yeah.
parallels to that. I was like, yeah, okay, I could see that. It's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah. The cohort character is probably going to be one of the problematic things in the conversations in the future. as well as gun violence and a, a
And the
general
vulgarity.
feeling of yeah vulgarity and um, being out for yourself. It's definitely a
Yeah.
combination of things that don't seem to fit with the original game very well. But it could have a different twist on it too, because it seemed like they were pushing the sort of again something right up my alley, the One Piece excitement of having it being a true expression of freedom instead of it being that piracy is a bad thing. It's more an expression of people going out and just living their life as well as they possibly can with their friends. So if they can nail down all those elements, I'm going to be in a good place. It's going to be pretty cool.
Nice. Well, any
Yeah.
final thoughts for Ubisoft or?
No, I'm done.
Uh, you're spent after that one.
Right.
Right.
Uh, I was
I
waiting for that, so I was, yeah.
I just wanted to touch up on what you had mentioned with the developer. With he was in tears, and there was a lot of emotion coming from that because it had been so long, and people had been asking
Mm-hmm.
for so long, and now we're at the point where it's like the only game now we need is Half-Life 3. That's like the only big one that we haven't seen announced
Yeah.
yet. But just the true emotion of that Ubisoft conference, I felt it. Like, like I said at the beginning with Miyamoto there, and then ending it with that as well. It just felt like it was just great. It felt like you'd be happy to be a gamer right now. That like press conference I think was really well done, and
Yeah.
it I think it got hit a lot of people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you.
It felt oddly personal considering how much like video uh,
Hmm.
seemed to fill it, and it's a weird combination that they managed to pull off miraculously. That usually you put that much just video and isolate it from people and it will
Hmm.
turn it off, but the people that they did put on, man, they turned it up. It really made it compelling.
Yeah, they felt like a family there because at the end they got all the development team up there and they took
Yeah.
photos at the end of it. So it really, really felt like the connection there. There was a family, it was emotion, there was, it
Well,
felt really good.
it was neat too because it's not a side we get to see often. Not like it, especially
Yeah.
Right.
with the internet being kind of the way it can be of just like, oh, this is garbage, you should die, blah blah blah. Like, you know what?
Right.
Actual people
How
make
much
these
bleach
games.
have you
Like,
drank and up the amount?
yeah, it's it's like, real people make these games. They spend years of their lives on a single
Hmm.
game, and
Yeah.
it's like, even if it doesn't turn out to be the greatest thing in the world or anything like that, it's like there's still some, you should still show some respect for that. Like it's just, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it was neat. It was neat to see that, even if even if it's like a game you're not interested in or anything like that, it's like, it's still cool to see like, hey, these people are
Yeah.
Yeah.
passionate about what they're doing. Like that's a cool thing. Like we should embrace
Yeah.
that. We should be happy for that. Like,
Right. It feels weird to say since it's a little bit of a mix of messages, but yeah, respect game, man.
Yeah. Less bleach and more positivity.
yeah.
Right. Right.
it's
Hopefully.
it's it's
Hopefully.
constructive criticism. Like that if you're gonna be critical, like be constructive about it. Like that's what I think the internet needs to learn. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, all right. I think that will do it for Ubisoft. We will move on to a next one.